Oh, hey, are we on? We're on. Hi, everybody. Look at this. I got a little armrest here in the woods. Is this November or what? Leslie a little Plazic, Zazoo Plazz, out in the woods. School's over there. There's a school. But I kind of feel like I got the last laugh this week. Finally figuring it out. See, there's some nice foliage over there. There's the schoolyard. But I'm not technically on the school playground. See, there's that fence over there. I'm on my side of the fence. You know, it being November, they cleared a little path, stuff's all dried out so I could get back here. And look at this, I got a little branch I can put my arm on. I got my tree here. And look what I got. Go long. Yay, catch. It's one of those, it's not Nerf brand, it's called Gopher. Look at that. But it's like a Nerf ball, Nerf got, I guess is gonna get inducted into the Toy Hall of Fame. This one's for you, Gen X Jono. Catch. Go Bills. I wanted to say, before I forget, Leslie Plazic, Zazoo Plazz, report for November. It's November 13th, Monday, but this is for the 12th. This is for yesterday, because I couldn't get out here. And somebody's cutting down trees. Isn't that nice? Look, I had to say, I went to Boston College, and when I was there, Doug Flutie was, the Heisman Trophy winner, the Hail Mary pass and all that. He was there when I was there. I was a freshman when he was a senior. And then later, he went to play for the Bills, for the Buffalo Bills. So I just want to put that out there. I think my parents were disappointed that they spent all that money on my college tuition and I didn't, marry Doug Flutie, but whatever. I saw him once, my senior year roommate and I. She was the first person I met, first friend I made. I think in my calculus class, freshman year. She and I used to hang out together. We were hanging out in the student union, getting ready to go into the cafeteria to have dinner or something. We were freshmen. And we're just sitting there. And he came through with his entourage. And we're just sitting there in the student lounge. And he stopped and said hi to us. We're just sitting there our jaws dropped, hit the floor. He was very friendly. He said, hi, how you doing? But did we just see Doug Flutie? Oh my God. Because we used to go to the games, She had two younger brothers, twins. And she and I used to go to the football games. We used to watch him play football at BC. Always loved football. It's probably my favorite, because I'm a November baby. So, anyway. And there's some weird kind of stuff. Look at this. Some weird kind of mushroom or something. I'm just going to put this down here. See? All that white stuff. Kind of looks like, at the beach, little shells or something. I should ask my son, the forestry major at UConn. Speaking of home. No, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm out of here. I'm half asleep last night. My husband comes in gray. Not technically anymore, but let's call him Gray. Gray comes in and he says, I just got a text from our son Zach, who says he was at some concert over the weekend, in the mosh pit. Some kid hit him in the mouth. This has happened before. He's gotten punched in the eye. He's got punched everywhere. Some kid hit him in the mouth this time. He tends to just put himself right out there. So he was probably in the front or something. He got an elbow and he's got a little piercing, a little metal thing right here on his lip. So the kid punched him, and the metal hit his tooth and like split his tooth or something, or chipped it. He's like, oh, I gotta call the dentist. Then we gotta, after all this, okay, parents, after all the braces, he had the worst overbite they'd ever seen. He had 2 rounds of braces. After all that, he's got beautiful teeth, 20 years old. He has a freaking lip ring and cracks his tooth. Really? I'm done. I'm done with this kid. I've had it. And then the other one, I don't know, the other one, he was home. What was he? He came out. Oh, they went out to eat together. The guys, he and his brother. Yeah. And then he was showing him the car. The younger one was showing the older one his car. And, they're getting closer. But there were times, they're 2.5 years apart. There were times they didn't even want to, they used to take off in the car when one was a freshman, one was a senior in high school. They wouldn't even, talk to each other. One would go his way and the other one would go, psst, Fortunately, they didn't have to be in middle school together. That was good. But elementary and high school, they did. But now they're starting to kind of, find their brotherly, common ground. So it's kind of nice. But anyway, so that happened, and I'm hearing from classmates. I got a message from one of my classmates today. Actually, he messaged me like 3 weeks ago, and I just didn't see it. I don't, until, how that happens? So I felt bad, but he's like, hey, Leslie, you going to the reunion? I was like, oops. Yeah, I'm going. You going? Yeah, I will be there. It's like, he says he saw me at the 5th. I have no memory of that. I mean, I was at the 5th reunion, but I remember running into this guy at some pizza place out by Yukon. But I don't know if he remembers that. It was a few years ago because he lives out there. But a nice guy. He used to sit in front of me in every class because his name starts with A, and my name started with B, Billado. So, Spanish, English, everything, every freaking class, he was in front of me. He kind of, he had blonde hair, and kind of the guys sort of were doing the feather thing, That's because we were the first Gen X class. We didn't have the big hair yet. I had my hair, was curly. Could never feather it. The best I could do was just stick it back in barrettes, and I had these 2, tails hanging down, It was always in my way. I usually end up just sticking it in a bun or a ponytail or, barrettes. But, I got to just, sometimes I can feel the ghost of my hair on my neck. It bothers me a lot now. But, I think I'm, the same. I don't know. But, everybody changes. But he's a smart kid. He was a smart guy. He's still a smart guy. I think he's an engineer or something. But, yeah, we were in a lot of the same honors classes. So it'll be nice to catch up with my classmates. I hope we have a good turnout. I hope, So I was in Savers the other day. I shop there. And I see people there who live in my town who are, well-dressed, professional type women. And they're shopping there now. So I I got a whole basket of clothes for $88. Now I have to bring back 3 pairs of pants. Because you can't try stuff on there, which is a pain. So you got to go back and try to get 3, pants the same price. So, yeah. So anyway, so I'm there, right? Buying all these great clothes. I did get some really nice sweaters and tops and even a skirt. Oh, this hat is worn out. I even found a nice skirt that it was a gray sweatshirt skirt that had silver zippers on the side. And that was cool. Everything fit great except the jeans, the jeans are some of them are like really narrow. I don't know whether they were junior sizes. You can't tell until you try them on. But anyway, I digress. That never happens. So anyway, so I meet this lady, we're like poking around. She's my mother's age, my late mother. And I'm like, oh, looking for a skirt, da 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 da. She starts talking to me, I gotta stick up my butt. Wait a minute. This is not uncomfortable. Do you mind? I'm trying to do my Zazoo report. Just go, here, just go down there or something. Oh, I'm gonna have to deal with it. So she starts telling me all her things, how her husband passed away, and a month ago, and all the things that happened to him, and they were married 61 years. He just, so she's grieving, right? This poor lady. She had 2 kids, they're like my age, and she's got 8 grandkids, and they're all, different colleges and schools and things. So we had a nice chat. We just lost track of time. It was like talking to my mother, going shopping. She's like, oh, that's a nice skirt, And I didn't realize I kind of missed my mom till I met this lady. And, but I think I helped her too, because she started getting choked up and talking about, it's been hard and this and that. And so, by the end, she was smiling and, laughing a little. She looked visibly lighter, and she went off, and then she went to get all her bargains, and I said, well, maybe you just need to, get a little project or something. She's like, oh no, this is what I do now. I'm like, this what? And then she was gone, and then after that, it's like, I saw her, but she wasn't, there. And sometimes you wonder when my mom used to do that. My mom used to go shopping, and that was what she did. She'd go shopping, she'd find somebody who needed to talk to her, and she'd talk to them, and an hour later we'd leave the store. I would get so bored. But my dad said, that maybe I'd take after her, I'm just there, and people talk to me. So, this is what the readings are about today. It's kind of funny how they parallel our life, See, it's a 32nd Sunday. Wisdom, the book of wisdom. Wisdom is found by those who seek her. She's just waiting. Like, yeah, isn't that, wisdom, we get wisdom in unexpected ways, where somebody's got, life wisdom, right? It's not always just, reading books and getting PhDs and stuff like that. We can find wisdom from taking a walk in the woods. It just hits us. It's unexpected. You can find it by seeking, but I think what that means is like you can make yourself available to receive wisdom, but you don't really know what it is until you live it, It's not until you integrate it into your life, and then it becomes, yours. So you kind of have to stay alert to, what's around you. And in so doing, you can receive that wisdom. That information is what it is. Wisdom is information. It's ideas. It's the moment, right? It's and then it's our nourishment, right? Which is from Source, God. And I think the best, stay awake and be ready. Matthew 24:25. This is this is the month when the readings get really dark in the Bible, in the Gospel, right? Leading up to Advent, which is the season of light in many faiths. It's not just Christianity, but Christianity, I think, for me, because I'm raised Catholic, that's what kind of, kind of hits home for me. But got my sticky note. Oh, I digress. Anyway, so yeah, so it's kind of like, it's the parable about the ten virgins, the five foolish and the five wise. The five foolish don't bring any oil in their lanterns, and they're waiting. That's right, they're waiting. It's like 10, not virgin, 10 like bridesmaids, right? Waiting for the groom. And the smart ones bring extra oil, right? And the five, you know, like, this reminds me when, but the only thing is they're not sharing. The ones who have the oil, and isn't that true? Because they can't. There's not enough, right? If they shared, the groom was delayed, right? So they're all sleeping, right? They're camped out waiting for the groom, the bridegroom, which is Christ, which is, Jesus. You could say it's the Christ light, right? They're waiting for, some people call it the second coming, the great awakening, whatever. They're waiting for enlightenment, right? They're waiting to be awakened by, that spiritual light, that nourishment, right? So, some of them just didn't plan ahead, right? You've been on a trip with people, right? My mother-in-law was the most prepared woman on a trip I've ever been on. My mother was prepared too, but my mother-in-law used to have these big, huge bags. Anybody who's traveled with her knows this. My kids, my husband. Now, it is daunting being on a trip. It was daunting being on a trip with her because she would sit back there and sigh, kind of like, are we there yet? And you knew she was back there, because she would be scared in the car. She wouldn't be, she'd fidget with her thing. She'd grasp onto her rosary beads. And then she had these huge bags. She'd have everything in there. It's like, like the clowns getting out of the little car. She just kept pulling crap out of that bag. There was no end to it. She had Tic Tacs, she had saltines, a hair dryer, all kinds of makeup and snacks and crackers and everything. She had makeup and shoes. she was prepared for anything. So if she was one of those 10 bridesmaids, she would be the one who had the oil. Whereas, I travel light. I usually just bring like a crossbody bag. But, I'm good though. But I don't need a whole lot of stuff. She needed her stuff. She had, she was preparing for the apocalypse or whatever. She'd carry around her big bag, so that was her workout, But, it distracts me having so much stuff. So I tend to be kind of a minimalist because I want to be able to run. I'm like, Prince 1999. I'm thinking everybody's running all over the place, Time, party's over. So, I was raised by my mother who's, traveled very light. She used to have just a small bag, just the essentials. That's it. I tend to be more like that. So, there's some people like, but not that my mother was unprepared spiritually. She was very prepared, I think, or she, so she said. I'm kind of in the middle, I'm not like, my mom, I'm not that extreme of a minimalist, but like, like if I go in my minivan, I usually bring some snacks and some water, just in case, I get delayed and I need, snacks. I have, I just keep very few credit cards. I just have like one for my business and one for my personal. I have very, I only have what I need. But, I like to have choices. So, when I go on a trip, I'm very smart, though. I roll things, I pack smart. So I'm prepared, but I'm not too weighed down. So I'm kind of in the middle. Um, but, the key thing is it's not so much, what the oil represents is hope. The oil is that keeps you going, right? It's not having a lot of stuff, like having a whole pantry full of canned goods or whatever. What that means that the oil is significant is signifies it's a metaphor for keeping your flame going. Like the Vestal virgins and all that. It's keeping your flame going, keeping is not giving up hope, right? Because those who used up all their oil, right? They've lost hope. And how common is that in our society, right? People, even people who start out, right, with a lot of oil, with a lot of, you know, and they have great promise, but then they kind of go off, they kind of, you know, they lose faith in God, they lose hope, right? And then they go down the wrong path, and then they're really lost. So this is about, the song for today builds on this, okay? Some people, they get lost. They go down what starts out to be a very promising, creative, spiritual path. But then, once they achieve a little bit of success, then they get distracted by those, things of the material world, the distractions of our age, which is, okay, so what happened? When I was 12, the song of my 12th birthday, that was number one, Hot 100, number one in the Billboard for 10 weeks. Debby Boone, You Light Up My Life. Okay, now, this is not exactly, a rock powerhouse song. I guess her father was Pat Boone. Her dad was a singer. And this kind of became sort of like a Christian, God song, but it started out being a romantic type song. And when I was a kid, I was like, you light up my life, because it was ubiquitous. It was everywhere. Every single time you turn on the radio, you light up my life. And when you're 12, you're at that in-between age where you don't, romantic songs aren't really the thing, but I was more into, like, when I was 12, I was more into, like, spiritual stuff, right? I used to read all kinds of things and pray a lot. I was in Catholic school. So that hit me at a point in my life. I was playing the organ, I was into music, I was into philosophy and writing poetry and things, before I hit adolescence, and then forget that. But, so it hit me at a point in my life when I kind of did interpret it in a spiritual way, Apparently, the song was written, all right, so she just did the cover. This guy named Joseph Brooks wrote it for the movie of the same title for 1977. You Light Up My Life was a movie that I never knew, I never saw because I was 12, with Didi Khan. Didi Khan, I think she was in Greece or something. I have to look that up. It was sung, so Didi Khan, the actress in the movie, lip-synced the song. It was actually sung by Casey Cizik on the soundtrack, for the movie. So there was the soundtrack, and then Debby Boone released it on her, and she puts it on her album. So Debby Boone makes it super popular, and then this guy who wrote the song gets all the credit, even though she was the one that, hers was the version that people, remember. So this guy, he won the Grammy for Song of the Year, 1977. Academy Award because it was for the movie, and he was he was instrumental in the movie somehow, and a Golden Globe and a Composer's Award. But then, okay, so he starts out, he's glory, he's in his glory, he's winning all these awards, right? He's doing movies, and he did other stuff, other movies, even through the 80s. But then, 2009, he was arrested and charged. Um, he was, you know, some bad stuff. He did some bad stuff, allegedly. Um, he actually, he died 2011 before he was able to go to trial and defend himself. So we can't really, there's articles out there about this. But he was, they said, the articles to believe that I wrote, that I read, and it's on Wikipedia, so whatever. But he was having fake casting calls for women and then, abusing these women who had their, trust in him. He'd bring them to his house for casting calls and, bad things happened. Allegedly, bad things happened. And it didn't end well for him. I'll post a link. I don't want to bring anybody down here. But, it didn't end well for him. By his own, doing, unfortunately. And he died, it was millions of dollars in debt, too. So, he lost hope. Apparently he got to a very dark place. And this is the man who wrote, "You Light Up My Life." I sat there, I read that, and I go, oh my God, my 12-year-old self is very disillusioned right now. Because I thought, oh my God, whoever wrote that song is so full of love. And to have a song, the way she sang it, it was so inspiring, it makes you cry, right? And then when you read about the guy who wrote the song and the darkness that, two paths, right? She took the path, light path, and he took the dark path. So that is really something. So I guess, but it's up to us to keep that hope going. If we get distracted by all the noise, down below here, if we start spinning in that spiral, right? It just keeps going down like a whirlpool. And the lyrics say everything, I was adrift on the water. Scorpio season. There's a new moon today, Scorpio. And it's about returning home, right? Never again being all alone. So this is what it means, We have to, even when we're out there on the ocean and our little boat's getting tossed around and it's stormy, we have to, keep the oil in the lantern lit. We can get so caught up. I'm trying to find an apartment. I'm doing, all these things. So many things that can distract you from what's really important. And really, it doesn't matter. When we're gone, who's going to care where we lived? If it was a good, it doesn't matter. Does it matter? No. What did we eat? We don't remember what we ate. Think about it. Do you remember what you ate yesterday? Already? For me, it doesn't matter anymore. But, I remember my Zazoo reports. They stick with me. And that's what it means to be satisfied, right? For God to quench your thirst. It's that stuff, right? Connecting with classmates. That stuff I remember. Talking to the lady in Savers, right? Do I remember all the stuff I bought? No. Except the pants that don't fit that I have to go return. But, if you keep your focus on the things that are not of this world, right? The rewards beyond. That's what it means to keep the oil in your lantern. Just follow your curiosity and your interest, and play football. Oh, it's way over there. I can stick up my butt. Anyway, so that's all I got for this week. I do need to go and do a few errands. So beautiful out of here. So nice. So go outside, take a hike. Keep your lantern full. And until next week, go hug a tree. And go light up someone's life. Your life. And in so doing, you'll light up other people. Right? See you next week. Bye-bye.